you go. I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question you brought to my attention was what types of insurance policies are available and like which ones would you guys, it says which ones are essential to me. So when you guys are selling a home, you probably sell primarily homeowners insurance, or I'm sorry, single family homes, which would be, on a slab, not attached to another property, stick built with a brick veneer siding. And that's going to be just your standard HO3 policy, which would cover, all your standard causes of loss like fire, lightning, theft, vandalism, sudden accidental water damage, like a couple of years ago when we had that freeze. A lot of people's HO3 homeowners policies, covered that particular sudden accidental loss. Then wind, hail, and hurricanes is, the other part of that policy. The other type of policy you guys would probably need, in the day to day of your selling real estate would be like a condo style policy where you're selling a condominium unit, whether it's in a high rise or whether it's just a series of adjoined units in a master plan community. Those are oftentimes covered. The the homeowner association will have a master policy that will cover from like basically the studs of the building out, and then the homeowner would be required to have insurance from the drywall in. So if there was a fire and it burned the unit down, the HO6 policy or the condo policy would cover from the drywall in for the customer, and then the master policy through the association would cover like the siding and the roof and the windows and all that. So those are the two biggest, the most common policies we would write, which is an HO3 for a single family home, not attached to anything else, and then an HO6, which is like a condo style policy covering the drywall in. And in addition, some of the homes you guys might sell might be in Brazoria or Galveston County. And in those counties, you'll oftentimes find you'll have to have a separate windstorm policy through the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association, also known as TWIA, if you hear that term once in a while. So that would cover the wind and hail portion of a homeowner's policy. Then you'd have a separate, what they call X-wind policy to cover fire, lightning, theft, all those other perils that I had talked about. And that would be, if you see those types of policies, it's going to be Brazoria, Galveston, any of the coastal tiers. You'll see two policies for a homeowner, and then maybe even a third policy, which would be flood insurance, if they're close enough to the coast or if they're in a flood zone. So those are kind of the nuts and bolts of the policies you would see. Then in addition, you may, if you guys ever place a renter in a landlord situation where you're maybe leasing a property out for a potential customer, the renter's insurance policy would just cover somebody that is renting from a landlord, and it would cover contents and some liability. So if anybody gets hurt on the property, they're still protected for liability. And then, any of their contents that they own in the course of renting. So, and that's considered just a renter's insurance policy. But there are a lot of good discounts in Texas for combining your home and your auto insurance. So a lot of times if you guys refer over a customer, you say, hey, Rick, can you run this quote for this customer? They're considering buying this house or putting an offer on it. We want to make sure it's not in a flood zone. And we want to kind of see what the home insurance will cost so they know what they're looking at for a monthly payment. Oftentimes, if you combine the auto insurance, it does save them some money on home insurance. So that's a good kind of piece of knowledge for you guys to keep in the back of your mind for your clients. The second question you guys asked was how do insurance premiums work and what factors influence the cost of my insurance? Right now in Texas, the two biggest factors that we're seeing that influence insurance premiums are credit, as well as age of home or age of roof. I would say those are the two biggest factors, other than obviously geographical location. It's a lot cheaper to insure a home in Austin than it is to insure a home in Galveston. But outside of that, the age of the home is a big factor. So newer construction up like Richmond, Katy, Cypress, up 99 west side of town, that's going to be very inexpensive to insure those brand new construction homes versus say something like in a Meyer land that's, going to be an older home, maybe on a tear down lot or something like that.
I have a question. Why exactly is it more expensive to
Go ahead.
do new construction?
To, why is it cheaper to do new construction
Oh, I heard it.
to insure?
I thought I heard it more expensive.
No, no, it's definitely gonna. I'm sorry if I did say that. I misspoke. It's much cheaper to insure new construction than it is older homes.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense.
like the new construction, like on 99, that whole corridor going north, is like all new construction blowing up there, and those homes are very inexpensive to insure. New construction is very inexpensive. I would even say if you guys wanted to have some sort of like value to put to a home insurance on new construction, you could say like on a $300,000 home, it's going to be close to about $1,000 a year. So if you do some math and you take 300,000 and you multiply it by 0.03, I'm sorry, 0.003, right? 300,000 0.003. It's about $900. So if you take new construction, take the total replacement cost, say 300,000, and multiply it by 300ths, you're going to get close to the total annual premium. So it'd be about $1,000 on 300,000, or around $1,200 on 400,000. So it's pretty cheap to insure new construction. Um, let's see, what is the process for filing an insurance claim, and what documentation is typically required? It's a good question, because a lot of times when people are filing, this is in reference to home insurance. When people are filing home insurance claims, they'll oftentimes ask, do I have to have an inventory of all my personal property? And I say, no, you don't. It's a good question, because you'd think like, hey, I lost this, and this, and the insurance company would be like, well, prove it. And nobody can prove what they purchased, um, 5 years ago, that they bought this couch from Pottery Barn that's cost X amount of dollars. It's really just kind of on the honor system when it comes to personal property. Um, so what factors, say what documentation. So there's not a lot of documentation required when filing a claim. If you do have a claim, and let's say it's a water loss, and you hire a plumber to come out real quick to um, to stop the water, then you have ServPro come out to start, the restoration process. Just keep your receipts if you do that stuff prior to filing the claim. So that's
I
that's a
noticed
good
you
piece of
got
information, actually. So you are able.
sorry, there's a little lag, but I noticed you had like some thumbs up, thumbs down in your video. What's you're live?
Yeah,
I, I do.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like randomly a thumbs up will pop up or a thumbs down will pop up when you're talking. I don't know what it is.
No way.
You have a
I don't.
feature
I don't. I
on,
don't
maybe?
zoom much. So
Maybe
I
I'm
don't think
live.
so.
Let me
It's weird. You're fine though. It's not taken away from anything, but it's just it did
Did
a
you say
thumbs
I
down.
did?
And I was like, somebody like going right now. I don't know what's going on. But,
Like maybe you guys are doing it to me. I don't know. No,
no,
I just have my phone going and I didn't touch it. So
No,
weird.
we're not
Are
live.
you are
Okay.
you live?
No, I'm not. I just checked. I'm not.
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
weird.
Okay.
That's funny. All right,
Um,
sorry to bother.
no, you're good. So yeah, keep receipts. If in the event of a claim, always maintain those receipts so that you can show what you've done, and then when the adjuster finally comes out, you present them to them. So, other than like any work done previous to the filing of the claim, I don't believe there's really a lot of documentation you'd have to have. Uh, any big ticket items like a schedule, like a diamond ring, or a watch, or anything like that, it might be nice to keep those things, like those documents and those appraisals, in a safe, so that if anything does happen to them. um but that's kind of
So what
like,
happens
that
if
would be
it
more
gets
like when you
burned?
like a like
Like
a
an event of a
like a
fire?
high value item.
Yes, sir.
Like say you have some people have some high value art, or some furs, or some like nice rugs. If those burn down to the ground, then you're going to get policy limits for those anyway. So if you have a total loss by fire and you have $200,000 of personal property, they're going to pay you out the whole thing. So it'll be on you then to go replace those items. It's where it can get tricky is if you have a high value item and it's stolen. So if there's a theft, you have to show that there was a forced entry or an item was stolen from you, like either out of a like whether a door was punched in and somebody stole something from you. So you have to show like forced entry on theft. So the best way to do like high value items for your clients is to have them schedule them on a policy, because then there's no questions asked and mysterious disappearance is covered. So I know this is kind of long and boring, but if you have a lot of people that like just get newly engaged and they have like a very expensive wedding ring, 5,000 or whatever more, they'll schedule it on the policy, and even if they lost it scuba diving off the coast of Australia on a honeymoon, it is covered no matter what, no questions asked. So that would be good for you guys too. So I know, Michael, you're a baller. You like your ice. So if you have some nice diamonds, you want to put those on your policy.
Only ice I have is on my wife's finger. That's it. I don't got nothing else.
Okay. So question for you asked me, what's the difference between term life insurance and whole life insurance? And what is more suitable for my needs? That's a good question, and it's something that we get asked often. So term life insurance is think of it as just satisfying. It's just a tool to cover you for the if you were to pass away, it would cover you to cover all your expenses, like in the event of burial, paying off mortgage, stuff like that. But there is no cash value billed. So term life insurance, you pay a low price monthly and you get the face amount of like say $1 million or 500,000 or whatever you want for a set term, like 20 or 30 years, right? So it's lower cost. It's kind of like leasing. You're like leasing in a life insurance policy. If you don't need it at the end of the term, you don't get any money back. You're done. But on a whole life policy, it's like a savings account that you can build cash value over time. It's more expensive on a monthly basis, but at the end of 30 years, you might have a couple $100,000 in there. So those are kind of the basic differences between those two. So for a lot of people, term life insurance. Am I still thumbs upping it all the time or what?
Yeah, it
I
goes
think
like
it's going
that.
based off your phone. Yeah,
I'm
your
seeing you guys
fingers.
laughing.
It just happened right now when you said that. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
What
Okay.
happened? What
Yeah, I
happened?
don't know what I've got going on here.
That's funny. It's okay. We'll try not to distract you. We just see
Yeah,
the thumbs
it's not
randomly
taking away from
happen.
anything.
Can you guys just not smirk every time
I'll try. So I have a question about
so
the long and uh, about those different policies. Sorry, my brain would just went for a loop for a second. So how does it work? Like if you wanted to, like, I hear a lot of people on social media and all different type of platforms talk about leveraging their insurance policy. How does that work, and do you advise that or?
leveraging what type of like a life insurance policy?
Yeah, like
Or
so
what type
there's
of
the
policy
one
you're looking at?
there's one that you get paid and God forbid something happens to somebody, right? And they get a payout.
Yeah.
And there's another one that you add on to, and it builds up like a savings account, and you can cash out that way, or you can put a loan against it and pay yourself back. I hear a lot of people talk about that on social media.
They do. So yeah, you can use that as a to borrow from it as a tool and then pay it back. And that's the benefit of the whole life policy. It does have that ability to be flexible. If you guys were, like say you were in a need where you had to borrow 100,000 from it, you could borrow it and then pay it back over time, or it would just adjust, and then you'd pay a higher monthly rate to restore it. So there is that option. I don't like whole life insurance because it has a lot of fees. It's not my kind of philosophy is buy term insurance and then invest the rest somewhere else. And I think you probably heard that too. It's a pretty common phrase.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of do subscribe to that. Instead of using whole life insurance as an investment tool, because I don't think it really works for a lot of folks. Maybe it does for some, but
Gotcha.
does that answer your question?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So how does my credit score affect my insurance rates, and what can I do to improve it to get better rates? Yeah, credit is a big factor in insurance, unfortunately. And if you're like, let's say you have a customer that is looking for a home and in a certain area, and their credit's like in the 600, mid 600s or something like that. And so it's not perfect, but it's not terrible. And they're looking to get the best value on insurance. The best way to overcome a bad credit score is to buy a brand new house, because that'll offset any credit issues. So insurance is so cheap on new construction that even credit won't affect that rate. So the worst combination is buying a house, like say in Friendswood, Harris County, with bad credit and no updates, 1967 home. That's going to be just the kiss of death for insurance. Those three factors: old home, down 45 south, bad credit, or I shouldn't say bad credit, but less than perfect credit.
Understood. Yeah, I didn't know that.
What's the role of the deductible in insurance policy? How does it impact my coverage and premiums? So deductible in home insurance is just like a deductible in auto insurance. It's going to be, what's withheld from the total payout to the customer. So this kind of the scary thing right now is we're seeing, replacement costs rising, right? So like the cost of construction is going way up. What you used to, and even the purchase price now, you're seeing homes that are like $180 to $200 a square foot for like a basic house, right? And so you're going to see the replacement costs go up to like on a 2% deductible, it's going to be, on a $400,000 house, you're going to see an $8,000 deductible, which that's basically the cost of a roof. So you're almost self-insuring roofs these days because of the rise in construction costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there aren't many companies left that will do a 1% deductible on wind and hail. Most of them are at 2%. So 2% of the replacement cost. But you can increase your deductible to get a lower policy premium. So the higher the deductible, the cheaper the policy. So that kind of answers that second part of your question.
I got a question on that.
So then you ask, can I bump? Go ahead, go.
So as far as the deductible, you said the higher it is, the cheaper the premium, right? So
Yep.
why would on the back end, why would people want a lower deductible? I mean, why would they want a higher deductible?
On the back end, why would they want a higher deductible? Because
Yeah.
well, for two reasons. It would be cheaper for the annual premium up front, right? So cheaper out of pocket costs up front. And then if you have an older roof and you know you're going to replace it anyway, then it's just like it's kind of a wash. You're like, I'll take a higher deductible because I know I have to replace this roof in the next 2 or 3 years anyway.
Does it?
And a lot of it. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. We got like a few second lag, so when I talk, then I talk over you instead of waiting for that pause. But do you advise people to get a higher deductible to get a lower premium, lower monthly payment, yearly payment, by yearly payment, so forth?
A lot of times it's not even it kind of comes to me from the lender. So like Trey or whoever you guys use, right? They'll send it over and say, hey, I've got DTI issues. I need to get this down. So it's usually the deductible is the first thing we have to kind of play with to get the price right for them to be able to close. So we do play with deductibles a lot, but it's because it's being requested by the buyer or by the lender.
Okay, understood. That's usually to meet like DTR or something like that, or like lower the monthly payments for them.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, I mean, you guys might see it more than I do, but it seems like there are more and more buyers in this market that have to kind of tweak the numbers to make their debt to income fit.
Right.
And it seems like insurance is like always the first place they go. I'm like, God, again, but
it's the easiest thing to move around.
To do it, but it must be the easiest monthly expense to manipulate.
Yeah, right.
So okay, then I did talk about bundling home and auto. That is a big benefit in some areas. More and more with the rates getting, you've seen insurance rates just skyrocket over the last like couple of years, and so yeah, auto is definitely one avenue. Alarm discounts. Getting an alarm system, and then the multi-policy, and then obviously newer roofs are all good discounts to help keep the premiums down.
Why exactly is the premiums
And
going
then
up?
Why exactly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's kind of funny. It's like it's not funny, but it's not has nothing to do with really what we've done in Texas. It has to do with kind of what Florida has done, what Louisiana has done, and kind of what has happened in those regions, which affects Texas. So you can kind of tell over the last couple of years, we haven't had any major storms that have wiped us out, but Beaumont, Orange, Louisiana, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, and then Florida just gotten smoked. And so that's driven up reinsurance costs, which makes it more expensive for insurance companies to do business, which then they pass on to like the entire region. So it's nothing we've done per se, but it is, what other parts of the country have done that have made it more expensive for us. And then it's also, I mean, we also just have a huge number of people moving here and living here. And so there's like an oversaturation. So it costs more the risk is greater here. Because as soon as we do have a storm, it's going to cause a lot of heartache with the insurance companies. So I did talk about how does my location affect my insurance rates and what can I do to minimize the impact of my premium. Don't move to Galveston. So stay west and your premiums will be better. Stay west and new. Or even like, Humboldt, Tomball, Magnolia, Montgomery County is a lot more cost effective for insurance than Harris and Fort Bend County. And then you get to Brazoria and in Galveston, it just gets expensive. What happens if I miss a premium payment and what are the consequences of the lapse in my insurance coverage? A lot of times, 90% of our customers escrow. So they don't even pay their own insurance premiums. The mortgage company will send out bills on an annual basis. So we don't have that problem that much unless they switch, these lenders are buying and selling mortgages all the time. So they often, if we don't get updated and we send the bill to the wrong mortgage company for the renewal, then we might have a lapse in coverage situation. Generally, it's not a big deal. Even if they force place insurance for, a few days or 30 days, it's not the end of the world. They just remove it once we got the new policy back in place. What is the process for renewing my insurance policy? And are there any steps I need to take to update my coverage as my circumstances change? So I kind of just mentioned that, you always want to keep your insurance agent up to date on if your loan is bought and sold, if it goes from Wells Fargo to, another company or whatever to Chase, you always want to update your insurance agent so that if you do escrow, they have the correct mortgagee information when they go to bill the mortgage company for the renewal. And like I said, the process for renewing insurance, you just, whenever your customers or whenever you guys get your renewals in the mail, review them, call your agent, look at the, you always want to shop every year now. The rates are so volatile that you definitely want to encourage people to shop every year.
Is there any cost for them to shop around every year or?
No, we don't charge anything. I mean, the way I've built, I'm directly appointed with all my insurance companies. So we don't charge any fees. We just get paid by the insurance company to represent them, to write the policies through them. And then we get paid commission from them directly. So there are some agencies out there that do charge pretty exorbitant agency fees.
Right.
But that's because they're more like a franchise model. And so they don't own the company. They have to kind of split the profits. And so they have to charge fees to make any money. But yeah, so just I would tell your clients, be aware. You do want to go with a broker that doesn't charge any agency fees. And we don't charge anything to reshop year to year.
So what time of the year should we shop around?
Whenever, like 30 days before your renewal date. So if you buy a house in December, then in November you should get your renewal. And that's like when that comes in the mail, you say, okay, I need to take a look at this or get in touch with my agent.
Okay.
But there isn't a good time of year to look. Like I would say most insurance companies have increases at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I mean, I would just look at the renewals whenever your renewal comes in. That's when you want to look and shop around.
Understood.
What else you got for me?
Was that through your whole list?
I went through the whole list.
Good, good. So I mean, we can kind of wrap up. But do y'all have any questions? Anybody want to ask Mr. Rick any questions?
No, I think those questions suffice for me.
Okay. Yeah. Next time we get together, Michael, if you could help me make sure I don't get my thumbs up going.
There it goes.
We'll fix my.
Is it like every time you do it? Maybe it's following you. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Is it a Zoom thing?
I think it's following him.
Yeah,
Because I know like sometimes you put up a peace up sign and like peace up stuff will come.
So if I go like that,
Sometimes it happens to me.
Come sometimes. So
really?
you probably just had it set up.
Probably a filter or something somewhere.
Yeah, probably a filter. That's pretty cool. Do you?
Well, I'll try to get that removed, guys.
Oh no, it's okay.
It's not that bad.
It was fun.
It just got when you told you like, can you not smirk? I was like, it's so hard not to smirk now.
Oh, there you go. See, look, thumbs up.
No, I just did that on purpose. So
oh, okay.
All right.
But yeah. Can you let everybody know? For those who are watching the playback, my agents, they'll know who you are, who you're with, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Rick Chester. I'm with Brazos Insurance. I've been in business for almost 18 years now, and I've actually worked with you, Michael, in the past. I think a few times over the last 10 years. But yeah, we're located in Sugar Land, but we service the entire state, and we can do home, auto, life, health, auto insurance, and then I think the biggest resource the best resource for you guys that we can do for you guys is probably when you guys are showing homes and you're not sure if it's in a flood zone, and clients are always probably like, hey, is this in a flood zone? You can always just shoot me a quick email and say, hey, Rick, take a look at this one and make sure it's not in a flood zone, or tell me if it is, so that you can pass that information back on to your clients in pretty quick time. And you guys can, do you want me to tell you my email address through the call?
Go for it.
So that everybody has it. It's rchester@Brazos, like the river, ins.com. So it's rchester@Brazos, I-N as in Nancy, S as in Sam.com.
And do you have?
Feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Go ahead. Feel free. Yeah. Sorry, the lag.
Oh, no problem. I was just saying, yeah, feel free to use me as a resource if you guys need anything as far as, hey, I need to know what this insurance is going to be on this house, or if it's flood insurance related, just don't hesitate. We're happy to respond quickly.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a little lag, so I was waiting for the die down a little bit. But is there like a way that we can go online and do like an application, not application, but like fill out a form or some sort, and they'll be able to contact you on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've actually gotten a bunch of those from that Channel 2 news segment. But if you go to our website at brazosins.com, there is a place to fill out an inquiry where you can put in your name, address, date of birth, phone number, and then we'll run the quotes for you and respond quickly.
Okay. Is there a way that we can also be able to like say if we have a current quote, right? Not quote, but a current policy. Are we able to give you that policy and you can take a look at it, or your team the policy and they review it and say, oh, well, you're missing X, Y, and Z. Here's how we can help. Is there like a proper way of doing that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. And that would just shoot me an email with that and say, hey, take a look at my existing policy and see if you can match it up apples to apples and send me some numbers to compare it. And that's the best way. That way we're not shortchanging you anywhere on your previous policy.
Understood. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions? No.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Mr. Rick, is there anything you want to add in before we kind of disperse and go about our day?
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys. So if you need me, I'm here, and good luck with the rest of the year. And I guess we'll talk again here in the next month or so, or whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah, after we got the line, we'll schedule some time to go back and do another one, and hopefully we don't have any technical issues with going live. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's all I have. So yeah, appreciate your time. And if they have any more questions, they'll reach out via email. I'll probably shoot you my current policy so you can review it, because my policy has been going up the past 2 or 3 renewals, so I need some new eyes on it.
Sure. I would be grateful to do that.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, we can go ahead and go. If y'all want to stick around, conversate afterwards, we can do so. But I'm gonna stop the recording.